She stopped believing good things happened to her, and that belief became the reason they stopped. This is the story of Talia, and the one morning that proved her wrong. 2 years ago, Talia's business company was the most trusted name on her street. Then a bad partnership, a bad year, and one bad decision closed it for good. She told herself it wasn't her fault. The market, the economy, the clients who stopped coming. And maybe some of that was true, but somewhere in the retelling, she stopped looking for what she could still do and started only naming what had been done to her. Months passed. Job applications went unanswered. Friends stopped calling, or maybe she stopped answering. Every setback became proof of the same story she kept telling herself. Nothing works out for me. She said it so often it started to feel less like a belief and more like a fact. And the strange thing about that kind of belief, it doesn't just describe your life. It starts to shape it. The eviction notice came on a Tuesday. Talia sat with it in her hands for a long time, not crying, just staring. The way you stare at something so familiar it barely surprises you anymore. This was supposed to happen, she thought. Of course it was. And that thought scared her more than the notice did. The next day, an old man walked into the cafe where she now worked part-time. She recognized him instantly. Mr. Aldous, a former client from her company years ago. He set a small glass jar on the counter, full of coins. "You used to give me extra help every single time, even when you couldn't afford to. I saved every coin. I wanted you to see what you built, even when you couldn't see it yourself." Talia stared at the jar. She hadn't remembered doing that. She hadn't remembered being someone who gave anything away. That night, Talia thought about all the small good things she'd stopped noticing, because she trained herself to notice only what went wrong. The jar wasn't really about coins. It was proof that her story had a version she'd forgotten to tell. One where she was generous, capable, someone people remembered kindly. She realized the story she kept repeating about her life wasn't the truth. It was just the loudest voice she'd let win. The next morning, Talia woke up and did something small but different. She wrote down one thing she was grateful for. Then she called an old friend just to talk. Then she asked her manager about picking up extra shifts to save towards starting again. A small company, just enough to begin. Nothing had changed about her circumstances overnight, but something had changed in the way she was meeting them. A year later, Talia's new business company had a name painted above the door in gold letters, "The Second Jar." And on the counter always sat a small glass jar. Not for coins this time, but for notes clients left about the good they'd noticed in their own lives that week. Talia hadn't just rebuilt a company. She had rebuilt the story she told herself. And that made all the difference. If you can change your mind, you can change your life. If this story lit something in you, don't let it fade. Subscribe, and let's keep the flame burning together.